All right, we're back here on the program. It's John Pollock with you. A pleasure to have Bellator President Scott Coker on the line. Of course, coming up this Friday night, it's Bellator 141 on Spike, 9 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be headlined by Melvin Guillard and Brandon Gertz. Scott, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I imagine a very busy period for you. You have a number of cards coming up over the next month. Of course, we've got the Dynamite show. You guys are going to be going to Hidalgo, Texas. It seems it's a very, very busy time for Bellator, as it probably has been since you've taken the job.
Well, I tell you, it's been a lot of fun, and it's been a lot of work. My staff's working extremely hard, but everybody here is having a good time, and we're doing some great stuff. So we're excited about the card next week and all the future cards that we're putting together, because we've got some great fights coming up for the fall.
Now, this Friday's main event, you've got Melvin Guillard competing for the first time with Bellator. Tell us a bit about the decision to go ahead and sign Melvin Guillard. Certainly an extremely talented fighter, one that brings a lot of attention, but one as well that, I mean, coming from the World Series of Fighting, created a lot of headaches with. Tell us why you feel Melvin Guillard is going to be a fit in the Bellator organization.
I'll tell you, when we thought about Melvin, I talked to my guys internally, and we just felt really good about it. I mean, here's a guy that has pretty much branded himself fighting in MMA, and whenever you think of, the fighter with the blonde hairdo, I think of two guys. I think of Melvin Guillard, and I think of Josh Koscheck.
Mm-hmm.
So, this guy is a well-known fighter. He's fought for everybody. But the one thing that I really liked about him is that all his fights are exciting. I've never seen the guy in a boring fight. So I said, you know what, let's take a shot at him and see how it works out. So here we go next week.
It seems that it's a bit of a pattern amongst a lot of fighters. Some that come to mind for me are Paul Daly, the Diaz brothers, who at times can be very difficult for promoters, but they speak glowingly of Scott Coker. It seems that you do have a certain kind of relationship with a lot of fighters that they don't typically get on the same page with their promoter of choice. But you do. What is the secret, Scott?
Well, you know what? It's not a secret. There's no easy science to it. I try to have a good relationship with a lot of the guys and girls that fight for us. But that's not always the case. And with Melvin, I reached out to him. I said hello. He's looking forward to get back into the cage and fighting. But we try to manage our relationships carefully, and really that's what it comes down to. But at the end of the day, man, these guys are fighters, and they want to fight. They want to earn an income, and they want to move move their career forward and move closer to fighting for a title, and that's what's really important. But I think that we try to be really respectful of the relationship with all of our guys and girls, and I think that shows, because, like you said, people like to fight for us and people like to do business with us, so it's a good feeling.
As we look ahead beyond just this Friday, of course, the Dynamite show is coming up next month, and it's very interesting in how this card is going to be presented. What is the challenge on your part, Scott, of presenting a card that doesn't alienate either audience, and to what extent do you feel there is a crossover of fans that are watching Glory and are watching Bellator? Because the metrics bear out that there are more Bellator fans than Glory fans going into this show. Where is that challenge for you to balance everything?
I mean, to me, it's this is a martial arts festival, and I always thought to myself, hey, wouldn't it be great if in America we could do kind of what they did when Kaylin was doing the Fights with Pride, is to do these big crossover events and make it something that's Bellator's own, and that's why we threw the twist into the 4-man tournament all in one night. I thought that was a nice wrinkle to the overall show, and when you think of Glory, it's a sampling. You're getting a sample of Glory, you're getting a sample of the 4-man tournament, and then you're getting the big main event with Tito Ortiz fighting Liam McGarry. So, and now we added Josh Thompson. So now this fight card on the TV side is just going to be a crazy fight card. It's going to be off the hook. So we're going to get something that for everybody, and I think that's what we've done in the past when we did the Kimbo Slice fight, or we did the British Invasion fight, or the Bonner fight. I mean, we put out some hardcore fights that the hardcore fans want to see. But we've also done what I call the fun fight, or the Legends fight. And, I think that this is a little bit different because Tito Yeah, he's not fighting another legend, seasoned veteran. He's fighting a young champ that's extremely hungry to, show his skill set. And this is a fight that I told Tito, hey, you might want to stay away from this one. And he's like, no, that's the guy I want to fight. And I tried to get him to fight other guys, but he just wouldn't do it. So he wants the belt, and that's the most important thing to him. So, now the whole event became, to me, extremely interesting once Tito decided, like, this is the guy that I want to fight, or, maybe I'll just, wait for the next one. So we put the fight card together now. You got Tito Ortiz in a championship fight against a tough young champ, and then, I guess the tournament and the sampling of glory. And tied it all into one night and free on Spike. Come on, you can't beat it. It's a great night of entertainment on Spike TV.
Now, you mentioned offering Tito other guys. Is it true that Frank Shamrock was one of those guys?
Yes, we did offer Frank. And, Frank was willing to fight Tito. But Tito just said, look, I want the belt. That was the most important thing to him. He says, this is something that's important to me, and I want the title. I don't want to fight Frank. I don't want to fight, Ken. We didn't offer him Ken, but he said, I don't want to fight Ken. I don't want to fight this guy. I don't want to fight that guy. I want to fight Liam McGarry for the belt. And it all started with the British invasion. I mean, I was sitting at the cage side, and I was watching the McGarry fight against Emmanuel Newton, which was just an amazing fight. It was very entertaining. And this guy keeps tapping me on the shoulder, and I'm like, turn around, and it's Tito, and I'm like, what's up, Tito? I'm watching the fight. And he's like, I want to fight the winner of these two. And I'm like, yeah, we'll talk about it later. I'll talk about it later. And then he's like, no, I want to fight him. And 5 minutes later, taps me on the shoulder. I want to fight him. So he wants to keep, he wants to fight for the belt, and that's really what is important to him. So we put the fight together, and that's how we all got there.
Now, as we also just stay on that card, of course, you mentioned Josh Thompson going to be making his Bellator debut. How quickly did talks begin with Josh Thompson when he had fulfilled his final fight with the UFC at that point? Was this a fairly straightforward deal? I mean, how quickly did this come together?
Well, when Josh came to us through his manager and said that he was a free agent, we said, well, hey, if we can sign him, let's get him fighting at San Jose, because this is his hometown. Why wouldn't he want to fight here? And so it was pretty straightforward. I mean, he became free. We made an offer, and he signed with us. And I said, we can wait till next year. But actually, Josh wants to fight. He's like, look, I'm ready to go, man. I want to fight, and I'm already in decent shape, and I want to keep training. And there's another guy. Have you ever seen Josh Thompson in a boring fight?
Mm-hmm.
No, he's exciting, and so between Melvin and Josh and Will Brooks and Chandler and just a lot of the other guys. I mean, we got a very interesting lightweight division now.
When you and your team sit down, and I think over the next year, there's going to be many of these instances where a name fighter becomes available, and you can't get everybody. But what are maybe the number one, number two most important factors when it comes to a name that you guys are going to go after and what they bring to the Bellator promotion?
I mean, you know what? We're looking for the guys that can move the needle. And that sounds like a cliche, but it's really true. I mean, if you're a ratings deliverer for Spike TV, then we'll probably have a long-lasting relationship. And if you put on exciting fights, and if you really bring it and do something that the hardcore fight fans want to see, then you'll probably be around. But if you're going to be the lay and pray guy and surfing, and I'm going to just kind of ride this guy out, and then you're probably not going to have a long career here at Bellator. I mean, we want exciting fights. We want fights that the fans are going to want to remember, the fans will remember, and then we're going to put on the fights that the fans want to see. So, to me, that's really the equation. I mean, can you move the needle? Can you deliver a rating? Can you put butts in seats? Because at the end of the day, that's our business. I mean, there's no question or people wondering, well, why are they putting so much into other star fighters in MMA? It's because they're able to deliver on this side. I mean, at the end of the day, we're judged by the ratings that come in every Monday after a fight, and we're judged by the gate attendance and some international deals. So it's a complicated formula, but it's something that to me it's pretty black and white at the end of the day.
And certainly two of those individuals that you cannot argue for one iota are Kimbo Slice and Ken Shamrock. Do you believe Ken's going to fight again, Scott?
I don't know. We haven't talked to him about fighting for us yet. But people talk about him fighting all these different guys. I mean, there's a couple guys that maybe might be interesting. But I think that if he retired too, that will be okay as well. I mean, he's done everything in MMA. He's a legend. He should be respected in our sport. And whatever he wants to do isn't really going to be up to him.
A few quick items here. Of course, this past week, Tamden McCrory left Bellator and seems to have been upset with the offer he received. What was your side to this, of what went down with Tamden McCrory?
I mean, I read that this morning, and I had to really reflect on, what the relationship was with Tamden, and I had called the guys, and we never really had. They had some type of option agreement from the old regime that was still in play, but we never had a contract, and he wanted a certain dollar figure. We didn't think he was worth it, so we passed.
And I guess I don't want this to sound like a vague question, but I mean, you've now been in this position for about a year and a half, and when you came in, certainly there was a certain culture within Bellator. How do you feel that has changed over the last year and a half? And in terms of where you wanted the Bellator brand to be when you came in, of how far along you are with that in terms of people and what they expect now with Bellator? You guys have certainly promoted some big fights under your regime. Where is the overall Bellator model here in terms of what your expectations were going back to your introduction?
Well, if you look at what we've accomplished in the last year or even 6 months, I mean, I think that we're on a really good trajectory. And the first 6 months of this company really was trying to get everything in order, trying to move the company's location, trying to find the right staff for the right positions. There was a lot of, I don't want to say landmines, but just things we had to fix, right? So, the first 6 months were really out fixing all the issues of the company. And then I'd say, since after the Tito, or even during the Tito Bonner fight, that was kind of like the stamp of what the shows will look like in the future.